All right. It's Friday and we are live. It's Friday with Friends, and I'm here to introduce my good friend, Shana Speer from Newport, Rhode Island. Shana, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey, how are you doing today, James?
Doing awesome. So tell us what's going on in the Newport market. How are things out there with real estate?
It's probably pretty similar to what you're seeing out in your neck of the woods. It's been crazy busy. We thought we were starting to get a little bit of a slowdown right around Thanksgiving. As you know, things have been just jamming all year long. And then November seemed to kind of slow up. It just kind of slowed down quite a bit. But then the week of Thanksgiving, I literally put 4 houses under contract. So you never know what's going on. It's hard to say. And I'm taking buyers out tomorrow to look at 5 properties. And I have 3 more buyers that I'm working with right now too. So it's just everybody's timing is always different. So you never know what that could be.
Absolutely. You know, I did the same thing. Thanksgiving weekend, I had 3 deals going to contract.
Yeah.
You know, put things together. That's like, hey, that's great. Let's keep it moving. I mean, this year has proven to be nothing but unconventional, right?
Yeah.
You know, it was a slow start and then everything just exploded. And I think what I saw a lot of was people just, hey, you know, we're here and we're stuck at home and we need a bigger place. So let's go find a bigger place.
Yeah, I think that's been a big part of it. The problem where I live in comparison to others is that we don't have a lot of new construction. So we have a lot of really, really old homes, you know, because you were stationed here for a little while. But for those of your listeners and whatnot that don't know, Newport, Rhode Island, I'd say the majority of the homes here are about 100 years old or older. And so you can renovate the inside, but whatever you have for size, you really can't expand upon it. I actually had a client or a colleague the other day call me that really works out of Connecticut more so, and she's looking to branch out more in Newport. And she had a client that was looking to buy this property, and they wanted to put it, it's a 2-family, and they wanted to make it a 3-family. Well, in their mind, well, it's not going to be an official 3-family. We want to put a living space over the garage. And I said, well, you can't do that here in Newport. Like every town has different rules and regulations of what you can and can't do. And she didn't understand that. So I was like, yeah, no, you can't really turn a 2-family into a 3-family, A, unless you have parking space for that, or B, you also have to go through the town and get permits for the water and the plumbing and everything. So it's just going to be a big headache, and you got to get all your ducks in a row before your clients get committed to wanting to do that, to make sure they even can, and it's a possibility.
Absolutely. You have to ask the right questions, and you have to know what's the town going to allow you to do. I mean, just because it's yours doesn't mean you can do anything you want with it.
Unfortunately not.
You know, there are some places where there's a lot less regulation, and we have some of that here, you know,
Nice.
unincorporated areas where it's kind of like the Wild West and you can do almost anything you want. And realistically, in some places you can actually do anything you want until you're ready to sell it, because then some towns are very, hey, this basement didn't have permits, so you have to take it apart.
Exactly. Like, for example, I have a closing that's coming up. It was supposed to close today. We had to push it off a week because we still don't have the permit. It was a flip. And the seller came in, he bought it. He does a lot of renovations, but he got permits for almost everything in the house, but he didn't get permits for the bathroom he added. And I called the town and I was like, hey, can you tell me what permits we have pulled? And I'm looking on the field card, which for those of you who don't understand, that's the tax records of what's in the house. And it said there's only 1 bath. And I now see that there's 2 full. And I'm like, what do you show for bathrooms? And she says, we just have 1. I said, was there a permit pulled for a second one? She's like, no. And I was like, all right, well, let me talk to them about it. She's like, well, that's really strange that they wouldn't pull a permit for that too when they pulled permits for everything else. I think it was just an oversight, but he had to backtrack and get it done. So we're having to delay the closing by a week, but it'll all work out.
Good job inquiring about that, because we had some folks that we were working with, and the seller said up front, hey, we didn't pull permits for the basement. And so the way we work that out is just like, we're just going to give you extra credit because that's all unassessed. And so taxes will go up. And when we look at what the taxes could be, that really, had a big concern, caught my buyer's attention, said, you know what, I don't want a tax bill that big. This house isn't a good fit for me.
Ah, okay.
So you
Was
really
there
have to be careful.
Was there an added bathroom or anything in that
There
basement?
was. It was a whole finished basement, and they added a bath, but they didn't really do a good job on the bathroom because they
Yeah.
didn't put flooring in. I mean, they
Ooh.
put down some kind of goofy pad and then a carpet, and it's not carpet solid; it was carpet remnants. So it was like you didn't really floor it. You know?
No, it doesn't sound like that would have been a good.
No, I
It
wasn't
wasn't
real
good
keen on it,
stuff.
but my buyers were interested in it. So
Yeah.
they decided, they made their own decisions and not being a good fit for them.
Let me ask you a question. Is radon really prevalent out where you live?
Yes, radon, 51% of the homes out here have it. It's a naturally occurring gas.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. It's all based on what's in the ground.
Yeah. It's hit or miss out here. Like some towns you have it, some towns we don't. The highest one I saw was over in a town called Bristol, and it was at 35.
Oh, wow.
And 4 is like the legal limit that you can live with.
I've had many well over 35.
Oh, really? Wow.
And I think the problem really is it's about new construction. And we build homes now that are more energy efficient. Everything stays in, where the 100-year-old houses, you're losing, energy, heat in the winter and AC in the summer. You're losing that left and right. So along with that goes the bad, radon gases. So it's not a big deal.
Very true. Okay, that's a good point. Yeah, because we'd never tested around here before. For the most part, people in Newport hadn't tested. Back when I bought my house in 2006, it was never brought to my attention, and I wasn't a realtor at that time.
Sure.
But since then, radon has become really prevalent, and the girl 2 houses down from me tested, and there was no radon when she bought her house 2 years ago. But I did have one that was a newer construction. It was built maybe in 1990-ish. And it did have radon. So you bring up a good point that the older the home, the less likely it probably would have it.
Well, I mean, that's not 100% true.
Oh, true.
It's not energy efficient. So not too long ago, we sold a house, and it was built in the 1800s.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool around here to see something.
Yeah.
I mean, we actually had pictures of logs in the basement, right? Like a log with bark on it.
Was it post and beam? Was it a post?
No,
and beam?
no, it was a concrete foundation.
Oh, okay.
But it was poured. It was weird. It was poured concrete, but it was like not professional. And someone said, "Oh, this is just a hack job they did from Menards." I'm like, no, the house was built in the 1800s. This is how they poured concrete back then. This was all sand and gravel, and painted over like 10 times.
Yeah.
But some of the support beams were all logs with bark on them. I'm like, okay, well, this is original. And these people had lived in the house for 70 years. And I'm like, well, if they've lived here for 70 years and they have no history of cancer, chances are good there's no radon in this house. Sure enough, it had high radon.
Oh, really? How high?
Well, more than 4, high enough,
Wow.
So, I mean, that's just something that
no, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
You don't know until you test.
Yeah.
It's not that radon is more prevalent. It's our awareness is more prevalent.
Yes, I agree. I think it's always been there. Just no one knew it was relevant back then.
Yeah. And it's the second leading cause of cancer in the United States. So if you don't test, you don't know. You can do a professional test, highly recommended when you're buying a house. Or if you're living in the house, you can do a home test, right at Home Depot and send it in. It's super easy to do. And that gives you the idea. Now, being in real estate, I did a home test because I knew what it was. And it was, mine was under 4, but it was close enough. I was like, that's close enough because someday I'm going to have to sell it and I'll just pay it now. And because I was in the business, I contacted my neighbors and like, hey, I have high radon. If anybody else has high radon, you want to get our system done. We got a deal with the radon mitigation company and had 2 or 3 houses done. And we got a good deal on it.
Nice.
So it's just one of those things. And it's just like anything else. It's awareness.
Oh, totally. I completely agree. Now, what about out there? What kind of buyers are you seeing right now? Are you seeing just people kind of upsizing and downsizing with what's going on with COVID? Or are you seeing like relocations?
Well, our relocations are mostly moving out, right? Okay. So there are people that are leaving Illinois. There's tons of reasons to leave Illinois. You've got high taxes, you've got politics, and you got weather, right? And then you also have retirement. People are leaving, going someplace warm. They give the whole Murdoch, I'm too old for this stuff, right? And they're going to Florida, or they're going to Arizona, someplace where they don't have to shovel snow. So most of our relocation is going to other agents in other markets. That's why I want to connect with people and create that opportunity for our people here in Illinois to meet agents in different markets where they might want to go. Especially for you being in Newport, you have Navy Postgraduate School. So all our military folks that might have to go to NPS, they can connect with you to find a great place in Newport.
Yes, absolutely. And we do have a lot of that. Actually, thankfully, I should say, my friend, she's now a friend. She was a reservist with the Army, and she's here for, she's actually a veterinarian, and she's a reservist with the Army. And so she's here for War College, and she came in because for those of you who don't know, the International War College is not just for Navy, it's for all the branches of the military and even international. And it's the most prestigious because it is the only one that offers a college accredited degree. But thankful for her, I just found out my dog got diagnosed with diabetes, and with COVID, you can't go in and learn how to give the shot at the veterinary clinic. So she she was like, oh, let me help you. So she was really great. She's like, I'll come by and I'll show you how to give the shot. And so she came by at like 8:00 at night with her daughter and is like showing me how to give him the shot and giving me a test run with saline and everything. I got the syringes from the hospital, but still the fact that she was even willing and able to help me with it. I mean, there's so many great people I've met over the years through the military that have come through this town. It's just, it's some great friendships, and it's a unique lifestyle that I know you're retired, but and thank you for your service. But it's just a unique lifestyle that everybody's led, in that where you constantly are changing and moving so often. But there's some really neat people out there, and if you haven't had a chance to get to know them, definitely take the opportunity. Is what I would.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what are you guys seeing in your area right now? Are you seeing more buyers or sellers?
A little bit of both. I think the sellers are curious to see what they can get for their homes,
Yep.
or they're just tired of where they're at. I'm seeing a lot of colleagues throughout my office where every week I'm getting a post saying, hey, my sellers just put their house on the market, and now they need to find a rental because they don't know where they're going. So they're trying to find a place to stay because they don't have another place lined up. But they're like, hey, here's the market. We're close to the peak in their mind. Let's just go now. So it's hard to say. But otherwise, buyers wise, it's a combination. It's people relocating out of the city, like either New York or Boston. I do have a lot of that. And the thing is here, even though for locals, our price point is just going higher and higher, and it's getting too expensive for a lot of locals to be a first home buyer. But we do have the people from New York that are coming in and other places, and they're like, oh, that doesn't cost that much, because their cost there was so much higher. So they were like, we can afford it.
Change.
Yes. So they're like, oh, we can afford it and we'll pay cash, or we can afford it and we'll go 10% over asking.
Right.
Without a question.
Make it hard for everybody local.
Yeah.
So that's a good question. Do you work in other states? Because Rhode Island is such a small state. Do you work across borders?
I do not. I originally did. Over time, I have been licensed in both Connecticut and Massachusetts, because Rhode Island is 45 minutes top to bottom, an hour and a half side to side. But what I found in the 6 years that I've been licensed is I've only done one transaction in Massachusetts. And then I got licensed in Connecticut because I thought I was going to do a transaction down there and never did. So I'm like, it's easier for me to refer business to a colleague in that area versus me trying to say, oh, I'm an expert in that area when I'm really not.
I agree with that so much. Right now, we're in Illinois, and if you think we're right here, and the border, we are like literally right here, and the Wisconsin border is right there. It's only a few miles away. And there's plenty of agents that work both sides of the border. Wisconsin is so different. How can you be good at both?
Yeah.
So I choose just to be in Illinois. Illinois is large enough for me. And then if somebody needs to be in Wisconsin, they decide they want to be in Wisconsin, then I'll connect them with one of our great agents over there.
Yeah. And that's the great thing with how we met too, is that we have such a vast array of agents that we have networked with and been able to connect with to really be able to help people no matter where they're located in the States or internationally for that matter too.
Absolutely. And I just want to check to see if we have any comments. If anybody has any questions for Shana, they want to ask something, feel free to let us know. And so we can make sure we get those questions to Shana. We're going to have Shana's information. We've got her contact information down below. So if you need to give her a call, if you want to know more about what's going on in the market in Rhode Island, or you can always connect with us right away. So sellers are looking for, what they can get for their house. What are you seeing from buyers? I mean, you get some of the out-of-state buyers that find a good bargain in Rhode Island?
That's the thing. I mean, everybody's looking for a deal, but it depends on what a deal means to you. Because, if it was me, I would have said a deal was 3 years ago when you could buy a house for $300,000, and you can't here now, at least not in my town. You can't.
What are your average prices right now?
Our average price point is around 600.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's crazy. And that's just because the inventory is so low. I mean, I had some friends just put their house on the market, 2 beds, 1 bath, not even 1,000 square feet, backyard and a garage for $380.
Wow. That's
and
crazy.
They'll probably get it for it, if not more, because it's just recently they've gone through it with a fine-tooth comb, renovated everything with it, and it's great. But yeah, it's crazy. Average price point has been going up considerably over time. It's outstanding how much it's gone up. I mean, when I look at the price point here over the last month, we're looking at, you're going to laugh about this. This is going to make you cringe a little bit, but our average sales price, the average sales price for the month of October, because you got to take into consideration, we have some huge mansions that have been selling lately.
Oh yeah.
And the average price point was actually $900,000.
Wow. Yeah.
But
we're seeing some of that too. We've got some bigger homes and they're selling. A lot of them are stagnant. They're not selling as much. It's the smaller homes, the stuff, from, it used to be anything from 100 below, but now it's really more like 150 to 250 is flying off the shelves. You can't keep anything on the market under 150.
And unless, and correct me if I'm wrong, if it's different in your market, in my market, the lower end houses, if they're not turnkey, like meaning move in ready, you don't have to do a thing. Those are the ones that are selling quick. It's the ones that are overpriced that you have to do all the work. Those are the ones that in my market that are sitting.
Well, yeah. But I mean, we just put a house on the market. It's an estate sale, and it's in really rough condition. I mean, it's a total gut. We put it on intentionally high at 100, and we sold it in 3 days with multiple offers for 70.
Wow.
And it's a complete gut job. So, but it just, the need for housing is pretty strong here. The rental market is crazy high because there's not enough inventory. So for somebody who's going to take that house and renovate it, you can turn it into a rental instantaneously and start making income on it.
Yeah, that's when it's nice, is when you guys have that opportunity for that. The problem here is people are paying so much of a premium for things that it's just not worth it to get your bang for your buck. Because average rental here, you're probably getting, because of the BAH and all the BAH, Basic Allowance for Housing.
BAH.
Most of the military folks, when they come through here, their BAH is on average around $2,800. And the problem is all the landlords know that.
Well, yeah.
Expecting to get that. And when we have some military folks come in, they're like, oh, I only want to spend 25. And I'm like, yeah, that's not really going to happen, because most of these houses, it's different than in the Midwest because we're closer to the water, and the price is going up and up and up, and we're sitting at like, 600 for $400 to $600 for a starter home. And there isn't much out there. And the average price in Middletown, which is just one town over, is at $500 is the average price point right now for the last
crazy high.
Yeah, it's
And
amazing.
that's just a regular 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't dissect it down, but yeah, if I do that, that's probably what we're looking at.
Okay. All right.
If you want me to, I will. Let's see. I'll go 3 beds. Oh, it doesn't give me price. It doesn't give me baths, but we'll just go single family.
Just general stuff.
Yeah, single family. Middletown, it's giving me average price point of a 3-bedroom generating. Oh, it's not pulling it up at all.
That's fine.
I'll get back to you on it. How's that? But I'd say it's probably around the same 500 price point for 3 beds, 2 baths, from my knowledge of the market.
Now, the people that you see moving in, you see people from Massachusetts and people from New York.
A lot of that, even Connecticut and in other areas.
Now, any corporate relocations going on other than military folks?
Not so much corporate relo. No, because everybody's able to really work remote.
Right. We've seen that kind of slow down quite a bit.
Yeah, because for us, we haven't had a lot of corporate reloads, but what I've seen more so is like I've had multiple couples from New York that are like, well, hey, we can work remote now. We might as well be somewhere on a coastal town and it really have more of a quality of life and get out and enjoy the area.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's what we're seeing the influx with.
Okay. And that's definitely making prices go a little bit higher.
Yeah, it definitely has. And I mean, I don't know about your neck of the woods, but what we're seeing and what we're hearing is that we're not expecting it to really slow down. I mean, it might slow down, but it's not going to not drop.
No, we don't see that because the interest rates are going to stay steady. I mean, we're seeing consistently under 3. I mean, saw somebody with less than 2.5.
Yeah.
On a 30-year fixed. So, I mean, there's never been a better time to be a buyer because of the interest rates, and it's never been a better time to be a seller because the interest rates are making buyers more come out, and there's less inventory. So if you've thought about it, there's never been a better time. I mean,
it's so true.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna spend more on a bigger house than you were in the past, but you're gonna save money on the interest rate. This is the interest rate you want that you've been waiting for forever. If you can get your stuff taken care of and squared away, if you get credit challenges, get that stuff worked on so you can go find that house because the prices of houses are going to keep going up.
The other problem that we're seeing right now is the food service industry workers where, they had great income before. And I just had this happen a couple of weeks ago where they were making 60 grand for the last couple of years, but with COVID now they're only making 45. And in most people's mind, when they go meet with their lender, they're thinking, oh, I make 60 because they're thinking what their recent paycheck was. And is it the same as what they're at? But they don't really look at the numbers. And that's what your lender does is he sits there and he goes through your numbers and he says, well, or her, sorry, that the numbers are not exactly where you thought they were. And so we had him this one buyer qualified for like 350. And then with the pullback on everything, we're like, ooh, we're actually only at 250 right now.
Oh, and wow.
We had to walk away from a buy. I mean, it was a really cute house. It was immaculate condition, but it was not in downtown Newport, but off into Middletown, closer to the base. And it was listed at, I think it was 340, and he could go to 350. It was listed at 340. We got him down to about 325 or 330. But it was immaculate condition. It was dated, and it wasn't in a desirable area, so to speak. But then unfortunately he couldn't afford it in the end. And I'm lucky that my lender went through the process early on. So we were able to save the buyer the money for their inspection as well as for their appraisal.
That's a good job. Just being able to be that engaged. So know that you can save the money on doing those things.
Yeah. And,
maybe it's just you sometimes when we work with people, it's not about, hey, we can't do it now. It's building a plan for when you can do it. Exactly. Right. And you could get them pre-qualified for 250. So can you get something for 250?
He can, just not in the area he wants to be. He's got to go further out of the town.
Sure. Yeah. Or maybe, he waits and saves a little bit more money and comes up with more down payment.
Exactly.
It's whatever they can do. And it's about building a plan.
Exactly. Process
So,
and plans.
yeah. So the last question I always like to ask is, what are the 3 things you want people moving to Rhode Island to know when they work with you? Like, what are the things that other people aren't going to tell them? What are the things that people need to understand about the Rhode Island market?
Well, you should have given me this as a heads up beforehand.
Well, that's so fun.
I know. So 3 things I would say about working with me and the Rhode Island market. Number 1, just be honest. You got to be honest with us. And so because we're honest with you, and we got to know what's really going on. If we never want you to be, oh, this is nice, but you're really like, I hate it. Because we don't want to sell you something, and we don't want you to be pleasant with us because you think it's our job to help you like a house. We want to know if you really like it or not. And if you don't, we don't want you to buy it.
Yeah.
So be honest and be candid with that feedback about things. Be positive when you're looking at buying or selling. Focus on the positive and what you want your outcome to be. Don't be a negative Nelly worst case scenario. There's actually a book I actually tend to give a lot of my clients when I start feeling I'm getting the panic frenzy. I give them the book, The Secret, which is about the power of positive thinking and keeping your mind in the right place. Because everything that's supposed to happen will happen. It's just a matter of keeping yourself paced properly. And then the third thing, I'm here to help. I guess just whatever your question is, whether it's real estate related or just state related or just in general, let me know what I can do to help.
Absolutely. Good tips. Be honest, right?
Yep.
And be candid, right? And you're here to help.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Hey, Shana, thank you so much for joining us today and talking about everything that we have in what's going on in the market in Rhode Island. I appreciate it. If you have questions for Shana and you get a chance to touch base, or if you're watching this on the replay, just go ahead and reach out. We've had her information on below. Reach out to us directly. And more importantly, if there's somebody that you want to talk to in a market that you're considering moving to, it doesn't matter where, just let us know. Drop us a note, send us something in the comments, and we'll get you connected. We have a ton of agents all across the country.
Absolutely.
And if you're one of those agents, we want to talk to you so we can get you scheduled on one of our Friday with Friends. Shana, thanks so much. Have an amazing day and happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.